Hi everybody, welcome back. And if you're new, hello. It's a crispy 59 degrees and today I'm going to be making a big pot of my Texas chili. Now this is a very simple recipe and I know you're going to love it. I'm going to start out with 3 pounds of chuck roast and I have 1 pound of ground chuck. I like the cubes in the chili, but I also like to see a little bit of the ground chuck in it mixed in there. But you can leave it out and just use your cube chuck roast. Now I like to cut my meat about 1 inch in size or just a little pinch smaller. You don't want them real big because you want them to look good in your chili. My meat of choice is chuck roast because it's got beautiful marbling and the fat is what gives this chili its beautiful, delicious flavor. Now I'm done cutting up all my meat. This is the fat that I removed right here. I'm going to clean up my area because we're ready to sear it. Now I'm going to be using this big Dutch oven. This is the one I like to use when I make chili, but you can use your favorite pot. And I'm going to be using this stainless steel skillet because I'm going to be browning the ground chuck in there. And I want to drain it because I don't want all that fat. Now I've got some bacon grease right here. Now I want about 2 tablespoons or so in here. Now I'm going to add all the cubed meat in the big Dutch oven. And you don't want to crowd it because if you crowd it, it's going to steam. And you don't want it to steam. You want it to get nice and golden. You want to sear it really well. If you think it's too hot, you want to lower the temperature. I'm going to do the same to this side over here. But I'm going to put in the ground chuck. Now I'm going to remove all the grease that it renders. I think it's nice and golden. I'm going to move it around. Now the pieces are not that big, so it doesn't take too long. Now the ground beef. So I'm ready to remove the first batch. And I want you to look at it. That's exactly what you want. I'm going to remove it and I'm going to continue with the same process. So I'm done searing. So I'm going to set it aside for just a little bit. And I've got my Dutch oven nice and hot. There's hardly any bacon grease in there. So I'm going to add just a little bit. And I want you to take a look at it so you can see what it looks like after searing all the meat. See? Nice and gold. All of that that's in the bottom is going to give this chili a delicious, beautiful flavor. So I've got my onions right here. This is a medium large 10-15 onion. Now we're famous here in South Texas for the 10-15 onions. This is a yellow onion and it's sweet, beautiful. I'm going to add it all in here. I've got my heat set on medium. I don't want it too high. I don't want to burn the onions. You just want it golden like this. Now, many of you have asked me whether I use white onions or yellow onions. I almost always use yellow sweet onions. Unless I'm making a cold salad, macaroni salad or something, that's when I use white onions. I'm going to prepare my spices. In this bowl, I have 1.5 tablespoons of oregano. There it goes. 2 tablespoons of light brown sugar. 1.5 tablespoons of paprika. This is my homemade paprika. I'll put a link below so you can watch the video and make your own. I have 4.5 tablespoons of my homemade chili powder. I'll put a link below so you can see how I made my own. I've got 3 tablespoons of ancho chili powder. This is also homemade. I have 1.5 tablespoons of onion powder. 2 tablespoons of garlic powder. 2.5 tablespoons of ground cumin. This is freshly ground cumin. I put it in a coffee grinder so it'll be nice and strong, potent in flavor. And I have 1.5 teaspoons of allspice. Now this is my secret ingredient. I think it's like putting a cherry on top. Now I'm just gonna mix it all up together. Now don't be afraid of using your chili powder, your paprika, and all your spices. I've tasted many chilies before where I've tasted it and thought it needs a lot more chili powder. And I think it's because people are afraid to use it. But with a big pot like this, you need to be generous. So my onions are sauteed beautifully, nice and golden. They smell so good. Now I'm gonna add my green bell pepper. I have 1 large green bell pepper, cut really nice and small. Now you can use your favorite bell pepper, the yellow, the orange, or the red, but there's something about the green one that gives this chili its beautiful flavor. Now you wanna add your ingredients one at a time. You don't wanna dump them all in there. You wanna give them each a chance to release their flavor. Now I'm gonna add my garlic. I have 6 large garlic cloves, finely minced. And this is gonna go in for just about 30 seconds because you don't wanna burn it. Now the tomatoes. I have 2 pounds of diced tomatoes. You can use canned tomatoes if you wanna do that. I'm gonna give it about 2 to 3 minutes before I add the next ingredient. So while I wait on my tomatoes, I'm gonna prepare my beef broth. I'm gonna be using 1.5 tablespoons of Better Than Bouillon beef flavor. And I'm gonna add some hot water in here. 3 cups. I'm gonna stir it really well. So I've got this ready. It's about 3 minutes. Now I'm gonna add some chipotle peppers. These are crushed, and I've got 2 tablespoons. I'm gonna add them in here. This is gonna give it a delicious smoky flavor. And just a little bit of heat. If you don't want any heat, you can leave it out. So everything's going in one at a time, one layer over another, and the flavors are just coming in beautifully. Now I'm gonna add all my spices. Just dump them in there. And I'm gonna stir it around so that all these spices will release their flavor in here. It's gonna be beautiful. Now I'm gonna add all my meat in here. Just dump it all in there. And I'm gonna add my beef broth. And I'm gonna add about 2 cups of water. I'm gonna add some pepper. And I'm gonna stir it. Look at this. Beautiful, rich color. That's because of the ancho chiles, the chili powder, and the paprika. The ancho chiles are just dried poblano peppers, and they're dark, and that's what gives it this beautiful color. Oh, this is gonna be heavenly delicious. So I'm gonna replace my lid, and I've got it set on medium-low. You want a nice little bubble here and there. You don't want it at a rolling boil. And you wanna come back every so often, like every 5 minutes or so, and you wanna stir it. You wanna make sure that it doesn't stick on the bottom, depending on what kind of a pot you're using. And that can happen with a Dutch oven. So you wanna be sure that you stir it. Now, if you notice, I didn't add any salt, and that's because I'm gonna wait until after the 45 minutes. I want the beef broth to do its job. Then I will adjust it. So I'll see you in about 45 minutes. So it's been 45 minutes. Now it's time to taste and adjust. Let's take a look. So I'm going to taste it. Oh man, it's heavenly delicious. Now this is a time when I add my maseca instant corn masa flour. I have 2 tablespoons of maseca here, and I'm going to add some hot water, about 1/4 of a cup or so, just to make a little slurry. Now I'm going to whisk it, make sure it's nice and smooth. Now this is going to be our thickening agent. Plus it's also going to give it a beautiful flavor, and it's a good balance with all the spices that we have in the chili. So I'm going to add it in here. I'm going to stir it. Now I'm going to replace the lid, and I'm going to let it cook on medium-low for another 45 minutes. Now I didn't add any salt because I tasted it and I thought it was perfect. But if you think that it needs some, then you can add some. So my 45 minutes are up. It's been a total of an hour and a half. I'm going to turn off the heat and let's take a look. Oh, look at that. Now before I stir it, I'm going to add some apple cider vinegar, 2 tablespoons. That'll balance out, you know, all the spices in there and give it just a little bit of acidity. And it's just delicious at the end. Now we can give it a stir. I know that beans is a no-no when you make Texas chili, but it's your family, your house. If you want to add some beans, this would be the time for you to add maybe some dark red beans or some pinto beans. Now this is the way we're going to have it, but that's an option that you have. Now this chili is not going to a competition, but if it was, I'm sure it would win. Now I'm going to serve. Oh, beautiful. Now we like to top our chili with some freshly grated cheese. This is Colby Jack, but you can pick your favorite. Look at this. I'm going to add some pico de gallo because it's a perfect combination. And just a dollop of sour cream. Now I've got some freshly made cornbread that I made. My Ron already took a piece. I like to serve it with cornbread. This is what I like to do. I like to get a little bit of the cornbread, and I like to break it up right here on the side. This way you can have a little bit with every spoonful. Just like that. Now it's time for the taste test. Ooh. Mm. Mm, 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 mm. Mm. A little bit of the cornbread with the cheese and the pico de gallo all together. A little bit of that sour cream. Get it all in there. Mmm. Mm. Now I've served this chili to many people throughout the years, and it's always been voted the best chili they've ever had. It's a winner. I know you're gonna love it. So if you like my recipe, give me a thumbs up, send me a comment, and tell me what you think. And if you haven't subscribed, please do. Thank you.